Revealed, how one black housekeeper's incredible discovery transformed a billionaire's life. Clara woke before dawn, her worn-out alarm clock ringing with an urgency that mirrored her own restless heart. She slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake Jamal. Every morning felt like a race against time, a daily ritual filled with the scent of instant coffee and the soft hum of the city waking up. Today, like every other morning, was a chance to keep fighting for her son's future, a future that often felt like a distant dream. She brushed her hair back, the dim light casting shadows on the cramped walls of their cozy apartment, filled with the warmth of home but heavy with the weight of bills yet to be paid. Each day, Clara donned her blue uniform with pride, a silent armor against the judgments of the world outside. Her job as a housekeeper for Adam Sullivan offered a paycheck but also opened doors into a world overflowing with opulence and isolation. Adam, once a titan of industry, now seemed more like a ghost haunting a lavish penthouse. She parked her worries about Jamal's school supplies and unpaid bills deeper in her heart. Today was about Adam, his house, his life, and the invisible walls that surrounded them. While cleaning the dust from the towering shelves of Adam's library one day, she stumbled upon a hidden box. The letters she found inside were yellowed with age, words inked with desperation that echoed from the Great Depression. How did someone like Adam, so wealthy yet so profoundly lonely, inherit such pain? Clara felt her heart clench. It was a reminder that even the richest among them are not immune to hardship. The struggles of desperate families intertwined with her own history, proving their struggles are astoundingly similar, despite the stark divide between them. As Clara pondered the letters, the skies outside grew ominous. Without warning, a violent storm swept through Chicago, plunging Adam's world into darkness. Thunder roared and lightning lit up the sky, an unsettling veil descending on the penthouse. Together, Clara and Adam found sanctuary in the cramped, candlelit living room. With no barriers between them now, they shared stories raw, real, and dripping with vulnerability. Clara spoke of sleepless nights, the warmth of her son's smile amid the chaos, while Adam revealed his regrets, a life lived in pursuit of glory that stripped him of genuine connection. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as the storm subsided, the world outside surged forward again. A scandal erupted, involving a corporate bailout that Adam's company was implicated in, a bailout born from privilege and deceit. Clara stood at a crossroads, fear gripping her heart. She clutched that truth like a lifeline, knowing it could mean salvation or catastrophe for families like hers. Could Adam, now awakened to the disparity between them, rise and do something extraordinary? Would the connection forged in those dark moments lead to real change? The questions hovered, heavy and expectant, leaving Clara and Adam with a heart full of hope and a storm of uncertainty swirling around them. As dawn broke the next day, the golden rays pierced through the heavy clouds that lingered from the storm. Clara's heart raced with anxiety. The news of the scandal was plastered all over the headlines, and whispers trailed behind her as she made her way to Adam's penthouse. She could feel the world watching, each step heavier than the last as she clutched her cleaning supplies like a shield. When she entered, Adam stood near the floor-to-ceiling glass windows, looking out at the city that seemed vast yet suffocating. His expression was distant, and for a moment, Clara felt like an intruder in his solitude. "Good morning, Clara," he said, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Even without saying it, she could sense his worry, an energy that coiled in the air between them. "Morning, Adam." "I saw the news," she began, but the words faltered in her throat. He turned, the shadows of doubt creeping heavier across his face. "I never wanted this. I thought I was doing the right thing." "Sometimes, the right thing isn't clear until it's too late," she replied softly, stepping closer. Clara understood the weight of guilt. It mirrored her own fears for Jamal's future. "You can still make it right. You have the power. Adam nodded as if her words had struck a chord, and for a brief moment, hope flickered in his eyes. I want to, he said, his voice trembling with the weight of his intention. I need to do more than just apologize. I want to help. Clara watched as he sank into thought. The vulnerable man before her wasn't just a billionaire anymore, he was a person wrestling with his conscience. You could start by using your influence for good. Injustice doesn't just vanish, it needs a solid push to change, she encouraged, her tone brimming with encouragement. The walls of the penthouse felt less imposing now, as fragments of their separate worlds began to intermingle. Adam approached the desk, grabbing a stack of papers, plans for community initiatives and reform. Clara's breath caught when she recognized familiar names among the list: local schools, struggling families, community gardens. Is this real? Her voice wavered with disbelief. It can be, Adam replied resolutely. But I need someone to guide me, someone who understands the depth of the issues we face. Will you help? Clara's heart surged with a mix of fear and exhilaration. The responsibility weighed heavily. She was being asked to bridge a gap so profound it felt daunting. Yet, the idea of making a tangible difference for families like hers ignited something deep within her. Yes, I'll help, she whispered, as if sealing a sacred pact. As plans formed between them, the enormity of their new reality began to take shape. Clara envisioned Jamal participating in programs that would inspire change, and Adam seemed ready to transform the world he once navigated so carelessly. Their journey was just starting, yet Clara felt the anticipation pulse in her veins, but even as excitement filled the air, a sense of foreboding loomed. What if the very forces that had conspired against Adam began to retaliate? What if their attempt to seek justice led them down a path filled with unexpected dangers? As these thoughts whirled in Clara's mind, she realized their journey wasn't just about transformation, it was also a dance with risk. Standing side by side now, Adam and Clara braced for what was to come, each holding on to the fragile thread of hope that connected them. With every intention to forge ahead, they understood real change demanded more than desire. It required unwavering courage in the face of adversity. As Clara looked into Adam's hopeful eyes, she wondered, would their newfound partnership withstand the fiery trials ahead? Would they emerge as allies forged in the heat of adversity, or would the pressures of the world around them pull them apart? Clara's heart thudded in her chest as she and Adam began outlining their initial steps. She could hardly believe they were about to embark on this mission together, two people from vastly different worlds, united by a hope that seemed fragile yet powerful. Let's start with the community center downtown. I've heard they need support, she suggested, feeling the urgency of their situation. Adam nodded, his eyes brightening at the prospect of tangible action. The thought of actual change was intoxicating. I'll set up a meeting with them, he said, his voice gaining strength. We need to understand what they really need, not just what we think they need. His determination was infectious, and Clara found her own resolve deepening. As they worked through their ideas, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Adam's name was on every news outlet, the scandal casting a long shadow. Yet, it was also a chance for redemption. She glanced up to see Adam's brow furrowed, a frown settling on his face. What is it? She asked, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. There's something I haven't told you, he began hesitantly. I've received threats. After the news broke, people were angry. Some think I'm exploiting the situation. His gaze darted to the windows, where the bustling city below felt overwhelming all over again. Clara's gut twisted at the thought. Are you in danger? No, not right now, but I know there are those who would rather see me fail. This isn't just about me anymore, it's about you too. He paused, his expression softening. I don't want you to get caught in the crossfire. I'm not afraid, Clara said firmly, feeling a surge of courage. If we're going to make change, it's worth the risks. We just have to be smart about it. Adam studied her for a moment, and she could see admiration flicker in his eyes. You're right. We have to move carefully. If we're going to take on this challenge, we need to protect ourselves. Their brainstorming session turned into a flurry of ideas. They discussed social media campaigns, community workshops, and partnerships with local businesses. Clara felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Each idea felt like a step forward, a way to empower the community that had raised her. But just as they began to find their rhythm, the tension in the room thickened. A message popped up on Adam's phone, disrupting their momentum. He glanced at it, and his expression shifted from hopeful to somber in an instant. "Everything okay?" Clara asked, her voice laced with concern. "It's about the upcoming meeting," he replied, his voice tight. "They want me to address the public first. They're concerned about the backlash if I'm seen associating with you. It's the same crowd that's been posting threats." Clara felt her stomach drop, a gnawing fear settling. "They think they could intimidate us?" Adam nodded, frustration flaring in his eyes. "They don't understand that this isn't just about me anymore. You have to know that if we're going to fight against this, we have to hold our ground together." The weight of the decision pressed heavily on her heart. "Then we will," Clara declared, steeling herself. "We'll show them. If they think they can scare us away, they don't know us at all." As they stared at each other, determination ignited, Clara felt the fragile thread of hope woven even tighter between them. But what lay ahead loomed large and uncertain. Would their resolve hold strong in the face of escalating threats? That very moment felt like a turning point, the cusp of something transformative if they could only hold on. With the city alive behind them, Clara whispered a silent prayer for strength, for courage. Could they really compete against those so powerful, and make a genuine difference? As Adam reached for her hand, she felt a surge of conviction echo through her. Together, they would rise, but the storm brewing around them held no promises. Would they find a way to turn their fears into strength, or would the darkness of their circumstances snuff out their light before it could truly shine? The morning sun poured into the small cafe where Clara and Adam had decided to meet. They chose a corner table, a spot with just enough privacy for their urgent conversations. Clara sipped her coffee, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the cup down. She couldn't shake the tension from the night before. It had settled deep in her bones, an anxious reminder that they were stepping onto a battlefield neither of them fully understood. Adam arrived moments later, his brow creased with worry. "Hey," he said, taking the seat across from her. "I spoke with the community center this morning. They're excited for our meeting, but we need to prepare for the worst." Clara nodded, absorbing his words. "Right. If the crowd is hostile, we need to hold our ground. We can't let fear paralyze us." She could feel her heart racing, the echoes of threats still haunting her thoughts. "Exactly," Adam replied, his voice steady. "We can't let them silence us. We need to speak loudly and clearly about why this matters, why we matter." His determination sent waves of strength through her. Clara caught the gaze of an older woman at a neighboring table, watching them with a look of curiosity. It reminded her of how their actions would not only impact them but everyone around them. They were here to advocate for those who felt voiceless. "Maybe we should introduce ourselves to the community before the formal meeting. It might help build trust," she suggested. "I love that idea. Our story could motivate others to join us. We need people to see that change is possible." Adam's enthusiasm flickered back to life. Clara felt her own spirit lift. As they traded ideas, a sudden commotion erupted outside the cafe. Clara flinched as a crowd gathered, voices rising in anger. She leaned closer to the window, her stomach dropping. Among them were familiar faces from the news, holding signs that read "No more exploitation and shame on you." A chill crept down her spine. "Adam, look!" she whispered urgently. He turned, and his expression hardened. "This is exactly what I was afraid of. They must be learned about our plans." Clara's instincts kicked in. "We can't go out there. If they see us together." Her breath hitched, the reality dawning on her. "What do we do?" Adam's jaw set, and he took a deep breath. "We have to go out there. If we back down now, it'll only give them more power. We need to show them that we're not hiding. We're ready for this fight. Her heart raced, fear dancing in her chest, but she felt a wave of resolve wash over her. Okay. Let us do this. They stood up together, moving toward the door as the weight of thousands of stairs followed them. As they stepped outside, the air crackled with tension. Clara's eyes darted over the crowd, taking in the furrowed brows and clenched fists. She spotted some familiar faces, people she had grown up with, and felt a pang of fear mixed with something else, sadness. If they were here to fight. But for what? Just then, someone shouted, their voice cutting through the crowd. This is not a game. You think you can come in and fix everything? You're just a rich kid playing superhero. The word stung Clara like a slap, echoing her own insecurities. Yet, as Adam squeezed her hand lightly, she was filled with unexpected strength. We're not here to play games. We really believe in this community. Adam called out, his voice booming above the noise. The chants of the crowd quieted slightly, giving Adam a chance to continue. I know I messed up before. But I'm committed to making it right, and that starts with listening to all of you. We want to work together. Clara's heart raced as she felt the shift in the crowd's energy. Was it possible? Could they actually make a connection? In the moment, she understood just how much was at stake. Let us show them, she whispered to Adam, a flicker of hope igniting in her chest. With a deep breath, they stepped forward together, ready to face their fears head-on. But Clara could already feel doubts creeping in, wondering if their alliance was strong enough, if their voices were powerful enough to breach the wall of resentment surrounding them. Would they find the courage to make a real difference, or would the anger of the crowd consume them like wildfire? Clara's heart thudded in her chest. The tension in the air was palpable, and for a moment, she felt frozen. Adam's grip on her hand steadied her, grounding her with a warmth that pushed back the chill of doubt. They were standing on the edge of a precipice, and she could either leap with him or retreat into the safety of denial. Listen, Adam continued, raising his voice just a notch higher. We're not here to solve all your problems. We want to listen, to understand what you really need. We're on your side. The crowd remained skeptical, some shifting on their feet, others crossing their arms defiantly. Clara scanned their faces, searching for an ally amid the sea of uncertainty and anger. She spotted a petite woman in the front, her eyes glistening with concern. Clara's heart whispered, she sees you. Let us start with a question, Clara called out, her voice trembling but resolute. What do you want us to know? The crowd stilled, taken aback by her directness. It was a shift, a subtle crack in their armor of resentment. An older man, with gray hair peeking from under a worn hat, stepped forward. We want you to know that we've been fighting this fight long before you even thought to join us. Right, Adam acknowledged, nodding earnestly. And we respect that. So, please, tell us how we can help. The man's shoulders relaxed a bit, and he let out a small sigh. People feel unheard, like our struggles aren't real to you. It's not just about money, it's about respect, dignity, about seeing us as equals. A few murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Clara could feel it, the tide was slowly turning. We're not here to take over, she said, her voice stronger now. We want to partner with you to lift everyone up. We believe in community, and that starts with you. Their words floated on the air, heavy with sincerity. The crowd seemed to exhale collectively, as if finally feeling the warmth of a long-forgotten sun. Clara's courage began sparking courage in others. One by one, they started sharing their stories of dreams, struggles, and hopes. It was a revelation. Clara realized that the rawness of their pain was also a testimony of their resilience, but as the conversations unfolded, she noticed something unsettling. A shadow flitted across Adam's face whenever voices grew loud again. Clara felt her stomach twist. Was he still worried about being seen as an intruder, an outsider? She leaned closer to him, her heart thumping. Are you okay? He nodded slowly, but not convincingly. I hope they can see that I'm genuinely here to change things. No one can change everything at once, she whispered, squeezing his hand tighter. We just have to keep trying. Before she could say more, the same woman she had noticed earlier stepped forward, her voice strong, cutting through the murmur. You may want to help, but how can we trust you? You're both from privilege. Why should we believe you? The question hung in the air, heavy with accusation, and Clara's heart fell. The crowd tensed again, ready to ignite, their frustration bubbling just below the surface. Adam's face paled, and she knew they couldn't afford to lose this moment. I can't expect you to trust me right away, Adam responded, his voice wavering only slightly. But I promise I will earn it. I'm here for the long haul together, we can find a way forward. Clara took a breath, feeling the weight of the moment. She had braced herself for hostility, but the fear was morphing into something raw and powerful, a chance for connection, for acknowledgement, but in the pit of her stomach, doubt loomed large. Did Adam mean it? Could he really change? She glanced at the crowd, hoping to find a sign, a hint of acceptance. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from down the street, yanking everyone's attention away. A nearby store window shattered, sending shards of glass spiraling onto the pavement. The crowd recoiled, and tension rippled through the throng like electricity. What now? Clara breathed, fear pulsing at her temples. The moment she had hoped would bring connection and healing now seemed poised at the brink of chaos. Standing at the threshold of a burgeoning relationship with the community and the emotion-tinged memories of vulnerability, Clara realized they had barely scratched the surface. But could they weather this storm? Would their budding alliance survive as the air thickened with potential violence? Clara's heart raced as chaos erupted. The sound of shattering glass echoed like a thunderclap, sending a ripple of panic through the crowd. Faces went pale, eyes darting around, searching for the source of danger. Her grip on Adam's hand tightened, seeking reassurance in the midst of uncertainty. What just happened? Adam's voice cracked, his brow furrowing. The usually composed leader was visibly shaken, his earlier conviction replaced with confusion. I don't know. Clara shouted over the sudden swell of voices. We have to stay calm. But the crowd was losing its grip on composure. People began to murmur loudly, emotions flaring. Fear turned to anger, and it was hard to tell if they were upset about the noise or what it represented, another threat to their already fragile community. Everyone, please. Adam raised his arms, trying to command attention. Let us stay together and figure this out. Yet his plea fell flat, drowned out by rising voices. The older man from earlier, whose pain had sparked such a heartfelt exchange, was shouting now. This is exactly what we've been talking about. Others coming in, thinking they know better. This isn't your fight. Clara felt the air grow thicker as if every breath weighed down by the bitterness returning to the surface. She could see a group of teenagers in the back, their faces twisted into expressions of disdain. One of them shouted, "Yeah, just leave us alone." As the anger ignited further, Clara remembered her purpose. Where she stood, it felt wrong to shy away, especially when they had made progress before the crash. She stepped forward, her heart pounding in her ears, knowing the risk. Wait! She called out, pushing through the crowd. I understand why you're angry. This isn't easy for us either. But if we turn against each other. The words hung in the air like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. She paused, willing them to listen. For a heartbeat, she saw flickers of recognition. If we let fear drive us, then we'll never change anything. Not for ourselves, or for those we care about. The murmurs grew softer, yet eyes remained defiant. Clara could sense the transition, they wanted to be heard, not lectured. She needed to tap into that raw energy. You've faced years of struggles, you have the strength to stand your ground. But we're here to help, to learn. If we work together, your stories can pull us forward. Don't let this moment slip away into anger. Adam found the strength in her words, stepping beside Clara. We can create something beautiful. But we can't do it alone. We need you. Not just for today, but for what's next. Just then, amidst the tension, a voice broke through the petite woman from earlier. I just want to feel safe. For me and my kids. A wave of murmurs surged, everyone nodding. Clara's heart stuttered, hope shone around her. I hear you, she replied, her voice steady now. And safety comes with working together, building bridges instead of walls. Slowly, understanding began to cross faces, uncertainty giving rise to the tentative threads of dialogue. But as the crowd settled, a siren blared in the distance. Clara's stomach dropped. What now? Adam met her gaze, concern etched across his features. We're just starting to connect with them, Clara. This is critical. We can't let our fears pull us apart when we're finally seeing a way through. She nodded, but a gnawing anxiety crept back. Can we really trust this moment? Then, as if on cue, a group of police officers appeared at the end of the street, their uniforms stark against the backdrop of unease. Clara's breath hitched. Would they shatter this newly forming bond? Before they could intervene, Clara took a deep breath, sharing a glance with Adam. Neither knew the answer, but it hung thick in the air, the weight of the unknown. Ready? Adam asked softly. No, Clara admitted, feeling a surge of vulnerability. But they took a step forward together, united in uncertainty as they braced for what was next. Could they hold their ground against this new wave of pressure? And would the community find strength enough to welcome them, or would this emerging bond break under the weight of fear? Clara felt her pulse quicken as the police officers approached, their presence an icy reminder of authority that could fracture the fragile peace they were starting to build. She glanced at Adam, searching for reassurance, but he wore a mask of uncertainty, his eyes scanning the crowd, gauging the tension. The officers halted a few feet away, forming a line that blocked the road. Their expressions were serious, eyes scanning the crowd of anxious faces. Clara could sense the unease ripple through the community, like a wave of cold air sweeping through a warm room. Everyone, please. One officer called out, his voice commanding. We need to talk. There was a report of disturbances in the area. We're just here to ensure everyone's safety. Clara felt a knot form in her stomach. The promise of connection they had started to weave was threatened. The older man speaking out earlier stepped forward, chest puffed with indignation. We don't need you here. We're trying to solve our own problems. Sir, it's not about that, the officer replied, raising his hands in a calming gesture. We're just concerned. We want to help. But the crowd wasn't ready to hear it. A few people shouted back, lashing out in fear and anger, and the atmosphere shifted again, hostile and rigid. Clara's heart sank as she realized their moment of connection teetered on the edge of collapse. Please. Clara shouted, stepping into the fray, heart racing. No one is a threat here. We're all in this together. Let South not let fear drive us apart. Her voice cut through the noise, and for an instant, the crowd paused, a collective breath held in disbelief. Adam stepped beside Clara, nodding. This isn't about sides anymore. We're facing challenges every day, together. Again, silence followed them, heavy and thick. Clara locked eyes with the petite woman from earlier, who still looked anxious but held on tight to her toddler. The woman's gaze ignited a flicker of hope. You want safety for your kids, right? We all do. But we can't do it alone. Let us show them that we're a community, not a collection of individuals scared of each other. More murmurs stirred within the masses, her words beginning to resonate amid the uncertainty. Suddenly, one of the teenagers held up his phone. Look! He shouted, breaking the silence. Someone's live streaming this. Millions of people are watching. The revelation sent a shockwave through Clara's mind. It was one thing to be afraid of the police, but now there was a crowd of unseen eyes watching their every move, ready to judge. Adam turned to Clara, his expression shifting. This could be our chance, he started, but Clara felt a pang of panic surge within her. What if this attention spiraled out of control? Are we really ready for that? Clara asked quietly, her stomach nodding again. What if they don't understand? What if we fail? Sometimes, Adam said gently, you have to risk everything to find your strength. The crowd shifted, the mood swinging like a pendulum. People seemed to weigh the options, caught between the safety of their fear and the promise of unity Clara and Adam were offering. Let us speak out, someone called from the back. Let us show them what we're made of. Clara breathed deeply, empowerment swelling within her. If we're going to do this, we need to stand together. Just then, another shout pierced the air, filled with dread and confusion. There is someone in the alley. Clara's heart sank again, all sense of progress overshadowed by new fear. She turned to Adam, the worries flooding her thoughts. What if this is just another blow to our chance? He gave her a determined nod, whatever it is, let us face it together. They stepped forward, shadows growing longer in the fading light as they braced for the unknown. Would the community rally in unity, or was the fear of the outside world about to fracture their newfound bond? The crowd churned, a living entity, breathing in sync but filled with disparate emotions. Clara's heart thundered in her chest while adrenaline coursed through her veins. Every bit of their fragile progress hung in the balance, exposed like raw vulnerability in the harsh light of scrutiny. Adam took a step closer to her, the intensity in his eyes matching her urgency. Whatever happens, let us stick together, he murmured, his voice steadying her heart. Yeah, we need to, she started to say, but the piercing shout from earlier cut through her words. The alley loomed dark and foreboding in the fading light, and every eye seemed drawn toward it, a compass pointing to potential chaos. As people shuffled closer, their whispers tangled with hints of fear and curiosity. Who is there? Someone called out, voice wavering. Is everything okay? Should we call for help? Another voice chimed, anxiety threading through the words. Clara felt an inexplicable pull. Ignoring the panic swelling inside her, she resolutely moved to the edge of the crowd, urging Adam to follow. Let us see what is happening, she suggested, her voice barely above a whisper but filled with conviction. The crowd opened up before them, an unspoken agreement resonating in the ebb and flow of tension. Mary, the petite woman who had spoken earlier, stepped beside them, her toddler clutched protectively in her arms. No turning back now, she said, steeling herself as they all took a hesitant step toward the alley. As they entered the shadows, Clara's instincts screamed at her to retreat. The alley was alive with flickering shadows cast by the overhead streetlight, hinting at movement just beyond reach. Clara's heart raced as a figure stumbled into the dim light. It was a young man, disheveled and thin, with wild eyes darting between the gathered faces. The moment their gazes locked, Clara felt a wave of empathy wash over her. There was pain written across his features and experience etched in every line on his face. Please, I just need help, he gasped, desperation thick in his voice. A heaviness settled over the crowd, muffling panicked murmurs. Some shifted uneasily, while others remained frozen, torn between sympathy and the raw fear that pulsed through them. Help him. Someone help him. Clara urged, feeling the heat of urgency bursting from the core of her being. She stepped closer, despite the instinct to pull back. What do you need? We can assist you. They're coming for me, the young man stammered, glancing over his shoulder as if danger lurked just out of sight. The words hung in the air, thick and suffocating, the tension wrapping tighter around them. Clara shook her head, trying to comprehend what he meant. Who? Suddenly, a scream erupted from the crowd, one of panic, mingled with a primal fear. The faces around her twisted into masks of horror, and Clara's pulse surged dangerously fast. She turned to Adam, his expression a mixture of resolve and confusion. Stay with me, he warned, grabbing her hand, grounding her in the moment. Around them, the community was fracturing again, caught between the unity they had fought for and the fear of the unknown. Clara faced the young man. Beads of sweat glistened on his forehead as he scanned the gathering, sensing their collective anxiety. "They don't care about us," he exclaimed, voice rising. "But I can show you. I've seen it." "Show us what?" Clara pressed, desperate for understanding. "They've taken everything, and if we don't come together now, it will be too late," he declared, eyes blazing with urgent adrenaline. As his words hung in the air, Clara realized they were at a crossroads folded between fear and hope, unity and division. The stakes had never been higher. The crowd's fear vibrated around them, but so did a burgeoning sense of strength. Could this terrifying moment be the spark they needed to ignite real change? And in that tension-filled space, Clara took a deep breath, ready to move forward. However, just as she opened her mouth to respond, a cop's voice rang out from behind them, "Step away from him now." Time seemed to freeze. Would they step back into fear or take a leap into unity? The sharp command sliced through the fear and confusion like a knife. Clara's heart dropped as the crowd instinctively recoiled, eyes flickering toward the source of the voice. A figure in uniform stepped forward, his stance exuding authority and cool detachment. He had a sidelong glance cast toward the young man, who flinched at the sight of him. "Please, don't," Clara blurted out, her voice rising above the anxious whispers. "He needs help." The officer narrowed his eyes, assessing the situation. "Step away from him, now." "He's not what he seems," he barked, as if trying to command the growing chaos instead of quell it. Clara felt a small flicker of anger ignite within her. Here was someone who needed to be saved, yet they were being made into a marked target. "We can't just abandon him," she shouted, her voice trembling. The young man glanced at her, hope mingling with fright in his wide eyes. "Clara, we should listen," Adam said, his grip still steady on her hand. She could feel the heat radiating from his body, shared adrenaline making them stronger. "Listen to what? To fear? To division?" she replied, feeling the weight of the crowd's apprehension. They were teetering on a delicate edge between action and paralysis. Mary's toddler whimpered in her arms, reflecting the fear that settled over them. The weight of the moment was unbearable. "This could help all of us," Clara urged, focusing on the crowd now, "if we just pause and consider shut it." The officer growled, stepping closer. "Don't make this worse. You don't know what you're dealing with." "But you don't either." Clara shot back, her pulse hammering in her ears. The collective anxiety of the crowd felt like a living organism, tensing and relaxing in cycles. "We need to see beyond our fears. We can't just let him go." The young man straightened, bravado stirring within him. "Listen. They're trying to silence us. If you want to know the truth, you have to trust me." The officer scoffed, but Clara could see cracks beginning to form in his authority. His mouth tightened into a thin line as he weighed his options. In that heartbeat, something shifted among the gathering. A murmur started at the edges, people passing the words around like a game of telephone. Trust, truth, together. Clara could see the embers of compassion ignite in some eyes. Maybe they could channel the fear into action, forge a path amid the chaos. "Please," Clara said, shifting her focus solely to the young man. "What do you know?" He took a deep breath, then spoke with trembling certainty. "I can lead you to them to the truth. But we must move now." His urgency pulled them forward, a thread weaving through their shared fears and hopes, beckoning them towards something profound. "Join me if you stand for something more than fear," he called, words ringing out against the night. Clara felt herself teetering on a brink of desperation and conviction, her heart racing. Just as the crowd seemed to sway toward uncertainty and possibility, the officer stepped forward, fear rippling through him. "You're all making a mistake. Get back." And suddenly, everything exploded. A loud crashing sound echoed down the alley, cutting through the moment like thunder. Clara's stomach dropped as she turned, the crowd's energy shifting from fear to wild panic. "Run!" Someone screamed, and in an instant, the crowd surged backward, a mass of bodies colliding, chaos erupting in a frenzy. Clara and Adam found themselves caught in the tidal wave, but Clara clung to her resolve. "We can't leave him!" she shouted over the chaos, adrenaline spiking. "Clara, we have to go!" Adam urged, holding her fast as bodies pushed against them. She felt a surge of fear and determination mix within her. What if this was the moment they had waited for? What if this was the chance for real unity? But instead of standing together, her community was unraveling into panic. And yet, within that tumult, Clara's heart still raced with a fierce resolve. "No. We can't just abandon him." As the officer tried to corral the crowd, Clara's decision loomed heavily over her. She stared toward the young man, who stood alone, eyes wide with determination. Could she risk everything for the chance to find out what he knew? The decision loomed large in her mind, and as the panic fanned out like wildfire, Clara took a deep breath, grounding herself. "Let us go!" she yelled to Adam, gripping his hand harder. But was running closer to fear or crafting a new, bold truth? The close of another stormy day felt like a swirl of uncertainty, yet Clara's heart burned with purpose. Adrenaline shot through her as she turned back, searching for the young man amid the chaos. "Please, you don't understand," he shouted, desperation etched in every line of his face. "If we can just stick together." At that moment, people began to scatter, the police urging them away. Clara's instincts screamed at her to turn and follow Adam, but she took a deep breath and stepped toward the young man. "We want to hear you," she called, her voice rising above the cacophony. The panic in the crowd fell away slightly. Here was an energy, a spark that might ignite something greater. "Who are you?" one voice shouted from the crowd. "What can you do for us?" The young man caught Clara's gaze, and she saw the flicker of hope reflected back. "I've seen what they're hiding, the corruption, the lies. They think we'll stay invisible, helpless, but together I'll help you." Clara interrupted, stepping closer, emboldened by the fear that had once frozen her. "If you can show us the truth, we'll stand by you. Together, we can fight back." Adam emerged beside her, shaking off his shock and finding strength in her words. "You're not just whispers in the dark anymore," he added, his voice powerful and steady. "We can rally those who are tired of being ignored." His declaration pierced through the tension. Faces turned, murmurs of curiosity began to ripple, hope ignited. Clara felt the air change. This was no longer just panic, it was potential. "Listen to them," Clara continued, gesturing to her growing group of supporters. "We're all here because we want something better. We don't have to cower in fear." But as the officer raised his baton, the tension thickened like an iron gate slamming shut. "Enough. You're all going to regret this. I refuse to let you intimidate us," Clara shot back, which resonated with newfound conviction. "Together, we've got strength. You can't silence us if we're united." The young man's presence swelled with possibility. "We can set this straight. But we need to move now. The truth is out there." Clara's heart raced. She couldn't let this moment slip away into chaos. "Then let us go," she urged, more to herself than anyone. Nearby, Mary stepped forward, bold with newfound courage. "Bring all the voices you can. We'll fight for truth together." The crowd absorbed her words, tension softening. They were gathering strength from their shared fears, transforming anger into determination. Clara and Adam stood in front, hands clasped, ready to take the step into the unknown. "Let us show them what we're made of," Adam proclaimed, and she felt the energy between them pulse with every heartbeat. The throng began to regroup, eyes sparked with fierce determination. They did not cower before authority anymore, they stood together, vulnerable yet unyielding. "Unite for each other," Clara called out, let our stories bind us, let our truths rise. As they surged forward, she could sense the trembling shift. Families, community leaders, teenagers all began moving, standing taller, with a new purpose flickering alive within them. Fear was fading. This was empowerment. The police backed up momentarily, surprised by the flood of unity surging toward them. Clara inhaled, forcing strength into every breath. Did they feel the ground shaking beneath them? Together. Clara shouted, and their voices echoed in affirmation, a wave of power cascading through her worry. We won't hide anymore. We are the change. They marched forward, buoyed by relentless bravery, eyes locked on the path before them. She followed the young man into the dark alleyways, understanding that this journey was no longer about just her. This was a gathering storm of voices, shared truths, and a burning desire for justice that couldn't be snuffed out. The police were now wavering, caught off guard by the sheer force of community spirit that had risen. And then, amid the tension and fear, sunlight broke through the gathering clouds above. Clara exhaled sharply. It was in that moment she saw it clearly. This wasn't just about risking everything for change, it was about the power that came from shared struggles and dreams igniting a fire. The truth, once hidden, was now fueled by collective strength. As they drew closer to the young man, Clara felt his resolve mixing with hers, forging an unbreakable bond born from courage. Together, they would uncover the truths that had haunted them, fueling a transformation that echoed through their neighborhood, a reminder that the power of unity could break down even the most fortified walls of fear. As they stepped toward the edge of the unknown, Clara's heart surged with hope, ready to face whatever lay ahead. It was time to reclaim their stories and harness their strength. It was time for change to rise like the dawn, and as the shouts turned from panic to purpose, Clara knew that this was just the beginning. Now, dear friends, it's your turn to join us. You need to subscribe now to catch all the future tales that inspire change. This is the moment to show your support, so leave a like for solidarity. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who also need to reflect and embrace transformation. Let us build our community, together. Your voice matters, and this journey has just started.